Hikaru Nakamura, the American chess grandmaster and 5-time US chess champion, possesses an impressive rating of 2,816, showcasing remarkable speed and expertise in the game. Hikaru is renowned for swiftly defeating chess hustlers, yet what transpires when he encounters a chess prodigy wielding extraordinary skills? This is Tani Adewumi, the rising chess prodigy and New York State chess champion, dazzles with a dynamic rating of 2200. Celebrated for his lightning-fast moves and strategic brilliance on the board, Tani is a force to be reckoned with in the world of chess. Tani initiates the game by advancing his pawn to e4, to which Hikaru promptly responds by moving his pawn to c5, opting for the Sicilian defense. Both competitors proceed to develop their knights, leading to a pawn exchange on d4. Following a series of strategic moves, the game evolves into a typical position featuring Tani's knight on c3 and d4 and Hikaru's knights on c6 and f6, complemented by his bishop positioned on g7, strategically observing the diagonal. After careful consideration, Tani opted to reposition his bishop, while Hikaru, prioritizing security, cautiously moved his king for additional protection. In response, Tani retracted his bishop, prompting Hikaru to challenge it with his knight on a5. Currently, the game remains finely poised, with Tani enjoying a slight advantage. However, this equilibrium may be short-lived, as the dynamics of their moves suggest an impending shift. Tani advances his queen, and Hikaru counters by developing his bishop to d7. Opting for an offensive approach, Tani targets Hikaru's bishop by placing his own bishop on h6. Disregarding the idea of a bishop trade, Hikaru straightforwardly executes a pawn move. While the logical move for Tani would be to castle at this point, he instead chooses pawn to f3, defending his e4 pawn, but compromising the safety of his king to some extent. Fortunately for Tani, Hikaru makes a significant error at this juncture by playing e5, opening the door for Tani to capture a pawn through a subsequent exchange of bishops and knights. Tani seizes the chance to take the pawn on b5, and after a series of trades involving bishops and knights on b3, Hikaru commits another mistake. While knight to e4 might not immediately seem detrimental, as it can recapture material after a check, the position ends up favoring Tani after pawn to g3 forces a trade, resulting in a pawn gain. Hikaru's queen advances to h4, delivering a check to Tani's king. Tani's response, moving his knight to f2, effectively blocking the check, but leaving his queen exposed to Hikaru's bishop, is less than ideal. Recognizing the vulnerability, Hikaru seizes the moment to target Tani's queen, prompting it to relocate. Tani, appearing uncertain in his moves, opts to shift his queen to d5, a move of minimal impact. Despite its apparent insignificance, this move effectively seals Tani's fate. Hikaru promptly seizes the opportunity by directing his rook to target one of Tani's pawns, further solidifying his control over the game. The momentum of the match had unmistakably shifted in Hikaru's favor. Tani now confronted a daunting uphill battle to regain control, as Hikaru skillfully exploited the weaknesses created by Tani's earlier moves, consolidating a commanding position with each strategic maneuver. In response to this looming threat, Tani's reaction was less than optimal. Faced with a moment of distress, he attempted to defend his pawn by shifting his rook to c1. However, Hikaru's bishop was already targeting that square, enabling him to capture Tani's rook with his bishop. Tani committed a critical blunder, and for a brief moment, a hint of embarrassment crossed his face as he contemplated resignation. Nevertheless, he quickly regained composure and proceeded to capture Hikaru's pawn on d6 with his knight. Hikaru persisted in applying pressure, maneuvering his rook to c2 and setting up a potential checkmate in 2 moves on f2. Tani countered this threat by moving his knight to e4. Now, Tani found himself in a desperate struggle to hold on, relying heavily on the clock to potentially secure a victory against Hikaru. Regrettably, Hikaru's speed and strength prove insurmountable. Persistently pressuring Tani's queen and launching attacks, Tani, recognizing the dire situation, opts to part with his queen in a trade. Nevertheless, Hikaru maintains his dominance, strategically suffocating Tani and relentlessly pursuing his knight. Hikaru strategically positions his bishop on e3, eyeing a potential check with his rook on the next move. However, Tani overlooks this simple tactic and proceeds to give a check with his knight. Hikaru skillfully slides his king out of danger, and Tani moves his knight back to d5. Unfortunately for Tani, this move allows Hikaru to deliver a check with his rook, ultimately winning Tani's rook. With the position now decidedly in Hikaru's favor, Tani chooses to continue the game rather than resign, capturing Hikaru's seemingly free bishop with his king. As the game progresses with further pawn trades, Hikaru tightens the noose around Tani, eventually chasing down Tani's knight. The match concludes with a ruthless rook ladder checkmate, securing a victory for Hikaru Nakamura. Despite a significant loss in this match, Tani later achieved a remarkable feat by defeating Hikaru twice. His second victory involved a strategic queen move, queen to e8 check, followed by capturing Hikaru's queen. While Hikaru is the stronger player, Tani's ongoing improvement and ability to challenge top players like Hikaru highlight his impressive journey towards the dream of becoming a world champion.